Thank you, Major. Sometimes I'm as silly as a chicken and I just totally forget where I'm at in the scheme of things. But now we will hand over to Bertay for his. Thank you.
Yes, I'm very fast as Speedy Gonzalez from airport to my home to just catch you guys. So the Toastmaster table topics tonight is about similes, and just to repeat, a simile is a figure of speech that compares two things by using like or as. So my plan for the table topics is I would like to give you a sentence, probably there is a simile in it, and I would like you to complete it, to make it as a story with the given time. So use as many similes as possible, but moreover, just have fun and just take the story wherever you like to take it. So I would like to start with Debbie Rose for the first story. That's how it starts. I was in love with that man, and my love was mad as Juliet's, and my feelings were beautiful as a rose.
And like the rose, the fragrance of our love was evident because I was showered with perfume gifts regularly on many occasions. The love of my life, who turned out to be the husband of my life and not the demon of my life, is a gorgeous man called Michael. Now, Michael also has a nom de plume, Santa. And at this time of the year, we're going into the festive season. So we will have a lot of Christmas festivities going on here. And as Juliet's love for Romeo took place at a young age, the opposite occurred for Michael and myself. It was in our senior years, because I'm 50 and he's 60. We've been married for 6 years now. And that love is still very strong. It should be only after 6 years of marriage. It would be dreadful if we'd already struck that 7-year itch. And it flows like a river. We also have the ebb and tide. We do have the occasional little rocky outbreak, as any marriage would have or any relationship has, because you need that to maintain the love, intensity and vibrancy of a Romeo and Juliet relationship, because it's still young and it's still very much in the spring of its life. Back to you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
That was actually great. Thank you. We learned that her love of her life is actually her husband. And we learned a lot as well, their relationship in a very short time. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. I would like to continue with Fakir. And is that okay, Fakir? You are on mute, just to tell you. Here is the story, beginning of my second story. One evening, I saw my mother was busy as a bee, and I was lazy as a sloth. She looked at me like a lion and...
She looked at me like lion, and lion that roars a lot, and she could see my future. She could see that this young man is going to grow big with time, and he has a bright future ahead of him. I was sitting there looking at her eyes, and cool as cucumber, and wonder what she was thinking of. Unfortunately, she could not see my growth because she died when I was just 3 years old. I still remember when her funeral was taken away and I was running behind her and crying, where was they taking her? When I recollect my thoughts about her, I wish she was still alive. I would have loved her to be here beside me and giving me all the pleasure of life that I would have liked from her. She would have been proud of me, and I would have been proud of her. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmasters.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Fakir. This was a sad story, but we all enjoyed thinking about your mother and hearing you talking about your mother. Thank you very much for sharing this with us. So I would like to continue with Pauline this time. Okay, Pauline, here is your story coming. That day, the city center was crowded as hell. I ran like a tiger for 10 minutes and...
Unlike the tiger, I could not run. I would find it difficult to run at my age. I don't even try, although I do go to the gym. And I also take part in lots of choirs. I love singing. I sing like a nightingale. Believe it or not. I also love to go to my Toastmasters clubs, of which I have 3 besides this online one. I love taking part in table topics because that really tests me. I came second in the evaluation and I could not believe it because I can't see the timer, by the way. I loved the evaluation because people that I thought were far cleverer than me were taking part. And I thought, how can I come second?
Pauline,
again?
darling, your time is up.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Pauline. So we also a very masterful piece from Pauline that in 2 sentences, she turned my story into a story that she liked. That's what I love about table topics. So you can twist it and then enjoy it yourself. So I also like that she took the story very humbly and we learned about her evaluation contest success. Thank you very much, Pauline. So I would like to continue now with Magda. Okay, so the story starts like this. Train whistle was like a sad song.
Is that all? The train whistle was like a sad song.
That's all.
Good. Mr. Table Topics Master and fellow Toastmasters and our guests. The train whistle is like a sad song because here I'm standing in Chesterfield and I've got my bags packed and I'm supposed to go back to New Zealand, but I love being in England so much I just can't stand the thought of going back. I love the green hills. They are like soft green marshmallows. And even the sheep is smiling nicer than they smile in New Zealand. Next to me, my husband is standing and he's saying, you know, it's really expensive to live here, you know. I said, yes, but who cares about that? I feel like a princess every time that I go to a castle. And I look at you in a different way because suddenly you are like Romeo. And it's doing my heart so good. There are no thorns in this story. I just love being here. My husband said, yes, but you know, all these things that you talk about is costing money. I said, who cares about money? Money is like an armadillo. One moment you've got it, and the next moment it's rolled into a little bowl, and it's just a figure on your bank statement. I'm sure the bank manager would allow me lots of freedom if I want to spend like the Kardashians. My husband said, forget your romanticism. Get on this train. We need to go to the airport. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Magda. What a story it was. There are a number of smileys, like a princess, like Romeo, and from sheeps to marshmallows, from UK to Australia, and what a vocal variety in just 120 seconds. Thank you very much. That was excellent. So my last question, if I'm allowed, will go to Colin. And it starts like this. My day was bright as the sun when I took a deep breath in our picnic area until
I saw what had been set out for my picnic lunch. It was like a smorgasbord to the person who had set it up, but to me it was as unfortunate as a mess in a cow paddock. I just could not even think about eating any of the stuff that had been set out for me. It didn't matter how bright the sun was and how blue the sky was or how green the surrounding hills were. The whole idea of this picnic was as horrible as I could possibly imagine. It kept looking at all the people around me and thought, how can you think this is so much fun? It is as disgusting as anything I have ever seen. But I had to keep a smile on my face because everybody thought they were doing a great job making this picnic. This deep breath I had taken before I had to continue. I had to keep going and keep breathing like it was going to go on forever. But thank God it was only going to be 120 seconds because I really wasn't going to be able to keep this going as long because I mean, how can you possibly cope when everything about the picnic is horrible? And the only good thing about it was that people were all smiling and they were yelling and screaming like they were having so much fun. But to me, it was just a disaster. Thank you, Mr. Tabletop Master.
Thank you very much, Colin. And he took a different path, I believe. Instead of smileys, he went with opposites. That was also great. He just told about how horrible it was. So it was interesting comment and very nice. 120 seconds, Colin. Thank you very much again. And back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Bertay. What wonderful stories we heard. I mean, from the touching story of Debbie Rose to the very sad story of Fakir and then into total fantasy land with Colin. I was waiting to find out what this horrible food was that you couldn't eat. It was just... And as for Magda, I mean, for good, yeah, Pauline told us that we'll got the Toastmasters punch in there, and Magda took us on a lovely romantic journey. That was just wonderful. But now we cannot